The morning sun had barely crested over Cleveland's east side when Zara Ellison opened her eyes to the sound of soft rain tapping the window pane. She wasn't worried. Her wedding was indoors, at the Rosewood Conservatory, a stunning old greenhouse-turned-event space filled with trailing ivy, white roses, and antique chandeliers. But still, the soft gray light filtering through the curtains gave the morning a dreamlike quality, one that Zara hoped would carry her through the biggest day of her life. She sat upright in bed, hands folded in her lap, taking a long breath. Today, she was marrying Caleb Morgan, the one man who had ever made her feel seen, loved, and entirely herself. Despite everything his mother had thrown her way, Zara had never doubted him, and today, she was going to become his wife. In the bridal suite of the conservatory, Zara was surrounded by the quiet bustle of her closest friends. Lena Cruz, her best friend since college and maid of honor, was laying out makeup brushes and steaming the robes. Soft indie music played from a wireless speaker, and the room was filled with the scent of eucalyptus and fresh peonies. "Coffee, my queen?" Lena asked, handing Zara a cup with a dramatic bow. Zara grinned and took a sip. "You're saving lives." She turned to the garment rack, where her wedding dress hung, delicate layers of hand-beaded silk and tulle. She'd designed it herself, working with a local seamstress for 6 months. The dress wasn't just fabric. It was her story, resilience stitched into every seam. Her dream made tangible. Everything was going smoothly, until it wasn't. At 9:34 a.m., the door to the bridal suite swung open. Zara turned, expecting to see the venue coordinator or maybe the florist. Instead, it was Loretta Morgan. Caleb's mother stood in the doorway, trench coat buttoned up, her designer handbag slung over one arm. Her expression was cold, unreadable, but her eyes flickered with something dark. Zara felt the energy in the room shift like a sudden drop in temperature. "Loretta," Zara said carefully, "you weren't supposed to be here until the ceremony." "I won't be staying long," Loretta said, brushing past Lena without acknowledging her. "I just came to wish you luck." Zara kept her voice calm. "Thank you. I'm sure Caleb would appreciate that." Loretta's gaze drifted to the dress hanging on the rack. She walked over to it slowly, fingers hovering over the delicate fabric, not quite touching. "So this is the gown?" she said, voice laced with disdain. "Looks unconventional." Zara stepped forward. "It's custom." "Of course it is," Loretta said with a brittle smile. "No one in my family has ever needed to sew their way into society." Lena tensed. "Okay, we're on a tight schedule." But Loretta cut her off. "You know," she said, turning back to Zara, "it's not too late to reconsider. Marriage is a serious matter, one that lasts far longer than trends or creativity." "I'm not here to win your approval, Loretta," Zara said evenly. "I love Caleb, and he loves me." Loretta's eyes narrowed. "You don't belong in our family." Zara's jaw clenched, but she didn't flinch. "I belong with him. That's enough." Then, without warning, Loretta turned, opened her handbag, and pulled out a lighter. There was a flick, a pause, then the unmistakable sound of flame. It took a full second for Zara to register what was happening. The hem of her dress had caught fire. The silk crackled as the flames licked upward. Zara screamed. Lena rushed forward with a bottle of water and doused it, but the damage was already done. The bottom half of Zara's wedding gown was a charred ruin. Loretta didn't move. She stood there, as calm as ever, watching the horror unfold. "You can't marry into our name," she said quietly. "Not in that dress. Not in any dress." And then she turned and walked out, leaving behind the scorched smell of smoke and the sound of Zara sobbing into her hands. For a full minute, no one moved. Then Lena grabbed a towel and wrapped it around Zara's shoulders. "We'll fix this," she whispered. We will, I swear. Zara couldn't breathe. All the months of dreaming, planning, hoping, gone in a flash of fire and hate. I can't believe she did that, Zara whispered. That was my dress, Lena. She burned it. She actually burned it. Lena sat beside her on the couch, arms wrapped tightly around her. She wanted to humiliate you, break you. But you're still here. I can't face Caleb, Zara murmured. Yes, you can. You're not the one who should feel ashamed. Zara looked down at the burned fabric. The guests are already arriving. Caleb's probably standing there wondering what's taking so long. Lena hesitated, then stood up and said, Then let's show them what resilience looks like. What do you mean? You have that ivory slip dress, the one you packed just in case the first dress felt too much. Zara blinked. The one for the after party? It's elegant, clean, strong, and you'll wear it like armor. Zara hesitated. But the story... Lena picked up her phone. We live stream it. Zara stared at her. Are you serious? Dead serious, Lena said. Let them see what happened. Let them see you rise from it. Your voice, your story, your wedding, your rules. Zara exhaled shakily. Okay, let's do it. Lena smiled. Hell yes. Zara stood before the full-length mirror 20 minutes later in the slip dress. Simple silk, smooth lines, open back. Her hair was pinned into soft waves. Her makeup glowed, and though her eyes were still red from crying, her posture was straight, defiant, beautiful. As Lena hit Go Live on her phone, Zara looked into the camera and began to speak. I was supposed to be married today in a dress I spent 6 months creating, a dress that told my story. This morning, someone tried to take that from me. She burned my gown. She tried to burn this moment. She paused, her voice steadying. But I'm still here, and I'm still marrying the man I love. Because what I'm wearing doesn't define me. My heart does. The live stream lit up with comments. You go, girl. We're watching from Chicago. Screw her. You're radiant. Ean Zara strong. Zara smiled through the tears. Let's go get married. The screen was still rolling. Zara Ellison stood in front of the mirror, breath steadying with every second the camera remained on. She had gone live just 5 minutes earlier, but already the viewer count was climbing rapidly. It started with a handful of friends and college acquaintances, then grew as shares and comments stacked up. By the time Lena Cruz flipped the camera around to give a sweeping view of the bridal suite and Zara's transformed backup dress, over 700 people were watching. Zara gave a soft smile to the screen. For those of you just joining, I'm Zara Ellison. I was supposed to wear a different dress today. One that I designed, hand-beaded, and loved. But earlier this morning, my fiancé's mother came into this room and burned it. A chorus of shocked emojis and comments poured in. What? Please tell me she's being arrested. You look incredible anyway. Do not let her ruin this. Lena held the phone up. She didn't just ruin the dress. She tried to ruin the whole day. But she underestimated who she was dealing with. Zara couldn't help but laugh, a bit shakily, but genuine. I didn't come this far to be stopped by fire and spite. I've got a new dress, a solid heart, and an incredible man waiting for me at the end of that aisle. The camera was still rolling when the door opened. In stepped Caleb Morgan, flanked by his best man and visibly out of breath. His eyes scanned the room until they locked on Zara. Zara? He stopped short when he saw what she was wearing. What happened to your dress? There was silence. Lena, off camera, whispered, You may want to sit down. Caleb took 2 slow steps forward. What's going on? Zara walked toward him and placed her hands on his shoulders. Your mother came here this morning. She set my dress on fire, on purpose. Caleb's face froze. She said I didn't belong in your family, and then she left, like nothing happened. For a moment, no one spoke. The livestream audience, now numbering over 1,000, was eerily silent too. Commenters holding their breath. Caleb's voice was low. She did what? Zara nodded. It's okay. I've got a different dress. I'm still walking down that aisle. He stared at her, eyes wide with disbelief and rising anger. She actually did that? Yes. Caleb turned toward the door, fury flashing in his expression. I'll throw her out myself. She already left, Zara said softly. You don't have to fight her. You're here. I'm here. And we're getting married. Caleb looked back at her, the tension slowly melting from his face. You still want to do this? Zara smiled. I want nothing more. Caleb pulled her into his arms. Then let's give them a wedding they'll never forget. Lena whispered. Still live, FYI. Caleb turned to the camera and said, To everyone watching, this woman right here, she's the strongest person I've ever known. And today I get to marry her. He took Zara's hand and together they stepped out of the suite. In the conservatory's main hall, the guests were already seated. Most of them had heard something had gone wrong, but no one knew exactly what. The atmosphere buzzed with quiet confusion until one of the bridesmaids, now armed with her phone, began whispering and showing snippets of the live stream to others. Gasps rippled across the room. Then, slowly, the mood shifted. Shock turned to admiration. Whispers became murmurs of respect. And when Zara appeared at the top of the aisle in her sleek ivory slipdress, holding a single white lily, the entire room stood. Lena filmed from the side, capturing the awe on their faces as Zara walked steadily forward, arm in arm with her older brother Marcus Ellison, who had flown in late the night before from Los Angeles. Tears shimmered in his eyes. You got this, Z, he whispered. She didn't win. You did. Zara nodded. At the altar, Caleb was waiting, his jaw tense but his eyes soft. As she approached, he stepped down to meet her and kissed her hand. You're radiant, he said. Absolutely unstoppable. The officiant, a family friend named Reverend Clara Mason, looked visibly moved. Before we begin, she said, I think it's important to acknowledge what everyone in this room knows, and what thousands online have seen. This wedding is no longer just a ceremony. It's a declaration of love, resilience, and integrity. The room murmured in agreement. And then, the vows began. Caleb took out a folded piece of paper, but after a few seconds, he crumpled it and set it aside. I had a whole thing written, he said, but I don't need it. Zara, you've taught me what it means to be brave, not just loud brave, but quiet brave. You've faced judgment, rejection, and sabotage, and still, you stand here with love in your heart. He paused, voice catching. Today, I vow to never let anyone, family or not, stand between us. I will protect our love. I will grow with you, laugh with you, and fight for you, the way you fought for us. Zara's hands trembled as she took her turn. I didn't know that love could feel like this, she said, her voice strong. Not perfect, not polished, but real, tested, true. When the dress burned, I thought the day was ruined. But then I remembered. You're the reason I'm here. And no one can burn that. The officiant took a moment to wipe her eyes. By the power vested in me, and witnessed by the love of all present, both in this room and across the internet, I now pronounce you husband and wife. The applause was thunderous, not polite, not traditional, pure, joyful defiance. A room that had once held tension now exploded with relief and celebration. As the newlyweds made their way down the aisle, the livestream comments poured in, crying in my office. Zara and Caleb saw goals. This is the realest wedding I've ever seen. Kish Zara strong sao. Tish love wins. Back in the bridal suite, Lena ended the live stream with a smile and posted a final caption. They tried to ruin her day. She turned it into a movement. The applause still echoed through the conservatory as Zara Ellison and Caleb Morgan made their way back down the aisle. Hands clasped, smiles unshakable, they felt as if the world had cracked open, spilling light, warmth, and vindication all at once. In that moment, there was no more fire, no more fear, just love, and the sound of standing ovation for a couple who had refused to let hate win. Guests wiped tears from their faces as they sat back down. Phones buzzed with alerts, screens lighting up with clips from the live stream. Some attendees had shared it during the ceremony, and now the outside world was watching their defiant love unfold in real time. Backstage, Lena Cruz met them with 2 champagne flutes and a proud grin. "I'm pretty sure half of Cleveland is rooting for you right now," she said. "You've officially gone viral." Zara laughed as she accepted the glass. "I think I'm still shaking." "Same," Caleb said, wrapping his arm around her waist. "But that was perfect. You were perfect." "Not the dress I planned," Zara said, looking down at the silk slip that now felt like battle armor. "No," he said. "It was better." The reception hall had been decorated long before the chaos, vines draping over chandeliers, flickering candles at every table, and a white neon sign that read, "The Morgans." Guests trickled in as staff handed out custom cocktail napkins printed with the couple's new wedding hashtag, Unburnable Love. Even the DJ made a last-minute adjustment, mixing in Zara's favorite empowerment anthems. "Stronger" by Kelly Clarkson blasted just as the couple entered the room. The crowd roared. Instead of the traditional slow dance, Caleb pulled Zara into a light-hearted sway and spin, making her laugh so hard she forgot about everything else. The DJ faded into a slower track next, "All of Me" by John Legend, and the room quieted as the couple danced cheek to cheek, holding each other like they never wanted to let go. At the head table, Zara's brother Marcus raised his glass. He didn't bother reading from notes. "My sister has always been fire. The good kind. The kind that lights up a room and warms your bones. But today, someone tried to make her burn in another way. And instead of falling apart, she rose. She took what was meant to break her and built something even stronger." He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "To Zara and Caleb, for proving that love, when it's real, doesn't need permission. It just needs 2 people brave enough to choose it." "Cheers!" the crowd echoed, lifting their glasses. In one corner, a custom Snapchat filter shimmered on guests' photos, white floral borders with the caption, "Zara and Caleb's Unbreakable Day, 10/21/25." Someone projected clips from the earlier live stream onto a side wall. The moment when Zara said, "What I'm wearing doesn't define me, my heart does," received spontaneous applause. It wasn't just a reception, it was a celebration of defiance, unity, and reclaimed joy. Zara slipped outside for a few moments alone, standing under the soft glow of the conservatory's garden lights. The air was cool and quiet, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of the last 12 hours. She looked up at the sky, dark velvet scattered with stars. Somewhere behind those clouds was the fire that tried to swallow her day, and beneath her feet was the firm ground she'd reclaimed. Caleb appeared beside her, slipping his hand into hers. "I didn't want to say it in front of everyone," he said softly, "but I told my mom not to come back." Zara blinked. "You did?" He nodded. "After what she did? She crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. I told her if she can't respect you, she doesn't get to be part of our lives." Zara looked at him for a long moment. "That couldn't have been easy." "No," he said, "but I'm not marrying her. I'm marrying you, and I won't let anyone sabotage that." She leaned into him, the silence between them full of trust and peace. Back inside, Lena was coordinating a surprise. She grabbed the mic and said, "So, some of you may know that Zara runs a design blog. What you may not know is that she helped sew wedding dresses for 4 other brides last year. Most of them couldn't afford custom gowns. What happened this morning wasn't just an attack on her. It was an attack on a woman who's lifted others up." She raised a champagne glass. "To Zara, for turning ashes into art." The room erupted again, this time with more than applause. Some guests stood, others clapped with tears in their eyes. For Zara, who had never liked the spotlight, it was a moment of overwhelming affirmation. Later in the evening, she and Caleb sat together at their sweetheart table, watching the flicker of candles and fairy lights, plates pushed aside, laughter ringing in the air. "Still mad about the dress?" he asked, teasing. "Not even a little," she smiled. "Honestly, I think it was the best thing that could have happened." He raised a brow. "She tried to reduce me to fabric and ashes, but she only reminded me of who I really am. And more importantly, who we are." "You're incredible," Caleb said. "And if your backup dress is this stunning, I can't wait to see what you wear at the vow renewal in 5 years. "Oh," Zara grinned. "By then, I'm wearing a full suit. With boots." They laughed together. In the background, guests snapped selfies with a sign that read, "This wedding survived fire," and turned it into fireworks. As the night came to a close, Zara recorded a short video on her phone. "Today didn't go according to plan," she said. "But sometimes, the best stories begin in chaos. I married the love of my life. I danced with people who believed in me. And I wore a dress that didn't cost thousands, but still made me feel unstoppable." She paused. "To anyone out there facing cruel people or unfair judgment, your love matters. Your story matters. And no one can burn that down." She hit post, and the message joined thousands of others on a growing wave of online support. By the time Zara and Caleb woke up the next morning, their wedding story had already made local headlines. Zara's phone buzzed with hundreds of notifications. Her Instagram had doubled in followers overnight. The clip of her live stream, the raw moment when she stood in her backup dress and declared she was still getting married, had over 2 million views. The top comment read, "She's not just a bride, she's a symbol." Zara blinked at the screen, barely processing what had happened. Caleb leaned over, scrolling through his own phone. "You're on the homepage of the Cleveland Now news site. They're calling you the bride who wouldn't back down." Zara laughed softly, still disbelieving. "I just wanted to get married. I didn't mean to start a movement." "But maybe that's how movements start," he said, "by people just refusing to be broken." Later that afternoon, Monique Fields, a Cleveland-based morning show host, called Zara directly. Her producer had seen the viral clip and wanted to feature the story. "We've covered hundreds of weddings," Monique said, "but nothing like yours. The way you handled that moment. It's striking a nerve." Zara hesitated. "I don't want this to be about drama. I don't want it to be a spectacle." "It doesn't have to be," Monique replied. "Tell the story your way. It's yours." Caleb squeezed her hand, encouraging. "And so," Zara agreed. The next morning, she appeared on the show, live and glowing in a simple navy dress, hair pulled back, a quiet power in her eyes. The studio lights were warm. The atmosphere was calm, respectful. Monique leaned in gently. "Zara, when you walked down the aisle in a dress you hadn't planned to wear, knowing what had just happened, what were you thinking?" Zara smiled. "Honestly, I was thinking that if I could survive that moment, I could survive anything." "And how did it feel to share that moment with the world?" "I didn't intend to," Zara said. "It just felt right to tell the truth. I wanted people to know that love doesn't need to be perfect to be real, and that no one, not even family, gets to decide your worth." Monique nodded, visibly moved. "You've received messages from around the country. some even internationally. What's been the most surprising? Zara paused. A woman from Michigan wrote me and said she canceled her wedding because her fiancé's family treated her like she was disposable. After seeing our story, she said she's reconsidering, on her terms this time. Monique smiled. You've started something much bigger than a wedding day. When Zara left the studio, she had no idea what was coming next. Her inbox flooded with requests, podcasts, opinion pieces, panel invites on modern marriage and family boundaries. Brands reached out, bridal platforms offering partnerships, women's wellness organizations asking her to speak at events. But what meant the most were the personal messages. A young woman wrote, "My mother-in-law threw out my wedding invitations behind my back. I never confronted her. Watching you inspired me to set boundaries and finally speak up." A father from Texas shared, "I cried watching your video with my daughter. She's 10. She asked, 'Why was the lady mean to her?' I told her, 'Because sometimes strong women scare people.' Thank you for being that kind of strong." Zara responded to as many as she could, often late into the night, while Caleb brought her tea or rubbed her shoulders between replies. "You okay?" he asked one evening as she closed her laptop. "I think so," she said. "It's just a lot." Caleb sat down beside her. "I know it wasn't the day we planned, but I'm so proud of you." She leaned her head against his. "I think I needed this more than I realized. Not the spotlight, the connection." Together they launched a small blog called Unburnable, Stories of Love and Boundaries. They invited people to submit their own stories, wedding disasters, family tension, triumphs, and lessons. Within a week, they had over 300 entries. Some were heart-wrenching, others were hilarious. All of them were brave. Zara published a post titled, "She burned my dress, but not my spirit." In it, she wrote, "What we wear can be destroyed, but who we are, what we love, can't be burned by someone else's fear." If you've ever been made to feel small, remember, fire doesn't shrink strong things, it reveals what can't be destroyed. The post was shared over 25,000 times. One evening, Zara received an unexpected message. It was from a former employee at Loretta Morgan's charity foundation, an anonymous email. "You're not the only one she tried to silence. I'm sorry she hurt you. Watching you stand up made a lot of us feel seen." Zara stared at the screen for a long time. She didn't respond, but she bookmarked it. That weekend, Zara and Caleb were invited to speak briefly at a small empowerment summit for young couples. They kept it simple. Just a conversation. No scripts, no flash. Caleb spoke first. "I thought love meant protecting someone from the outside world, but what I learned is that it also means standing up to the people closest to you when they cross the line." Zara added, "It's okay to love someone's child and not be loved by their parent. You don't have to earn your place in someone's family. Sometimes, the family you create is the only one that matters." Afterward, couples approached them with hugs, tears, and thanks. A man whispered, "My wife showed me your video when I was on the fence about cutting ties with my toxic brother. I did it. We've been more peaceful ever since." As they walked home, Caleb slipped his fingers into Zara's and said, "We turned one ruined dress into something that might actually help people." Zara smiled. "We didn't just salvage a wedding. We started something." 3 weeks after their wedding, Zara Ellison and Caleb Morgan walked into the ballroom of the Glenhurst Community Center, hand in hand, for a night they had never expected to host. Overhead, gold banners read, "Unburnable, a celebration of love and resilience." The room glowed with warm string lights. Tables were dressed in linen, adorned with sprigs of eucalyptus and votive candles. In one corner, a photo wall displayed images from their wedding day, not of the burned dress, but of the joy that followed it. Zara, in her simple slip dress, Caleb's tearful vows, guests clapping mid-ceremony. The gala wasn't just a party, it was a fundraiser. Proceeds would go toward the Boundaries Project, a small nonprofit they had launched to support individuals, especially women, navigating toxic family relationships during life transitions like weddings, childbirth, and caregiving. Their mission, to turn pain into purpose. And tonight, for the first time since the fire, Zara felt free. As guests arrived, Zara noticed familiar faces among the crowd. Former brides she had once helped design dresses for, friends from her college days, and even several people who had reached out through her blog, now attending in person. One woman approached her near the photo wall. She looked nervous, but determined. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Kelsey Tan. I messaged you about my mother-in-law smashing my engagement ring box." Zara's eyes lit with recognition. "Kelsey, oh my God, you made it." Kelsey nodded, her voice trembling. "I wanted to say thank you. Your story helped me find my voice. I delayed the wedding. Not canceled. Just paused. Until I feel like it's really about us, not keeping peace for everyone else." Zara hugged her without hesitation. "That's incredibly brave. You deserve that choice." Kelsey smiled. "So do you. And you made yours." As the night continued, the atmosphere was both festive and reflective. At one table, guests scribbled messages on a canvas that would later be displayed in Zara's studio. It read, "What I reclaimed?" Answers included, "My voice, my worth, the right to say no, my joy." On stage, Caleb stood behind the podium, holding a microphone. The room quieted. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he began. "A month ago, Zara and I had the wedding of our dreams, after surviving the wedding nightmare of someone else's." Laughter rippled across the room. But out of that chaos came clarity. We realized we weren't alone. That so many people have had their joy threatened by someone else's insecurity, jealousy, or fear. We knew we had to do something. He gestured toward the donation table, where handcrafted bracelets and prints were being sold. "So tonight is about reclaiming joy, for all of us, and it's about giving others a chance to stand back up." Applause filled the room as Caleb stepped aside and Zara approached the mic. She took a breath. "I've told the story 100 times now," she said, "about the dress, the fire, the walk down the aisle, but I haven't really talked about what happened after." She scanned the room. All eyes were on her. "After the wedding, I realized something. That fire wasn't just someone else's act of destruction, it was a mirror. It showed me how much of myself I had been editing down to be accepted." Zara's voice didn't waver. "I'm done editing, and I'm done being quiet." The crowd erupted with a standing ovation, loud, unfiltered, and full of admiration. As the event wound down, Joy Nguyen, a community organizer who'd helped plan the gala, approached with good news. "We hit our fundraising goal," she said, "and we already have 2 family counselors signed on for the program." Caleb grinned. "Seriously?" Joy nodded. "Zara, you've started something that's going to ripple out for years." Zara looked around the room. Strangers hugging, people exchanging numbers, laughing together in the same space where their wedding had once been nearly torn apart. It was bigger than her now. And that felt right. Just before midnight, Zara slipped out onto the balcony for a moment of quiet. The city sparkled beneath the sky, the hum of traffic far below. Her phone buzzed in her hand, another message. This one was from Loretta Morgan. She didn't open it right away. The subject line simply read, "I'm sorry." No attachments, no threats. Just that. Zara stared at it for a long moment, then slid the phone into her purse. "I don't need closure," she whispered. "I have peace." Caleb stepped onto the balcony, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "You okay?" "Yeah," she said. Better than okay. He kissed her temple. Then let's go back inside. We've got a ballroom full of people waiting to toast the woman who wouldn't let anything burn her down. The morning after the gala, Zara Ellison sat by the window of her sunlit living room, a mug of coffee in one hand and her journal in the other. Outside, the city of Cleveland was slowly waking up, its hum and rhythm comforting, familiar. Inside, everything felt different. It had been 1 month since her wedding day exploded into chaos, and just as quickly transformed into something extraordinary. What had started as a personal nightmare had become a shared story, a symbol, a movement. The burned wedding dress no longer haunted her. It was now framed, what was left of it, behind museum-grade glass, displayed in the hallway outside her home studio. Above it hung a plaque that read, "The fire didn't win." Zara flipped through pages of her journal, notes from couples who had reached out, ideas for workshops, reflections she'd written late at night after live stream interviews and podcast appearances. Her newest entry read, "The goal isn't to silence difficult people. The goal is to no longer be silenced by them." She set the book down and smiled. It was finally quiet in her life, but not the heavy, suffocating kind of silence she had grown up with. This was peace, the kind you make for yourself. Caleb entered the room barefoot in a t-shirt and sweatpants, holding 2 plates of breakfast. "I made waffles," he announced, "because our marriage deserves carbs." Zara laughed, accepting the plate. "You always know what I need." "Therapy and syrup," he said. "I'm a man of depth." They ate together on the couch, sunlight pooling at their feet. For once, there were no emails demanding comment, no press requests, no live streams. Just them. And that was enough. Later that afternoon, Zara held her first official Unburnable workshop at a community center on the west side. The small group of 12 included recently engaged women, a couple of therapists, and even 2 wedding planners who wanted to learn how to better protect their clients from family pressure. She opened with a simple statement. "I'm not here to tell you how to handle your family. I'm here to remind you that you don't have to let them handle you." Heads nodded. Tears shimmered in a few eyes. Stories began pouring out of domineering mothers, undermining siblings, controlling fiancés. Every person in that room had carried something heavy in silence. Until now. One woman, Tasha, shared, "My mother told me that I wasn't thin enough to wear the dress I loved. I canceled the fitting and pretended I didn't care. But I did. I still do." Zara placed a hand over hers. "You still can wear it. You still can care." Afterward, Tasha told her, "This was the first time I felt seen by someone who gets it. Thank you." Zara just smiled. "We're rewriting the rules." A few days later, Zara posted a video on her blog. It was short, filmed in her studio, framed with soft light and honesty. Some people called it bravery, some called it drama. But what really happened at my wedding was something simple. I stopped letting someone else define how much joy I was allowed to have. I've heard from hundreds of you. You've told me about ruined dresses, sabotaged receptions, canceled honeymoons, and family silence that felt louder than words. You've also told me how you rebuilt, how you stayed, or how you left. And every one of those choices took courage. I hope this continues. I hope we talk about boundaries the same way we talk about centerpieces and bouquets. Because the truth is, love is not supposed to be proven through endurance. It's meant to be honored through respect. The video went viral again, only this time, not for the drama, but for the message. It was reposted on wedding forums, relationship pages, even self-help communities. Zara was invited to speak at a regional wellness summit the following spring. She turned most media offers down, preferring quiet impact to endless spotlight. But she made one exception. A podcast called The Chosen Family Project interviewed her and Caleb together. The host asked, "What does family mean to you now, after everything?" Zara answered without pause. "Family is who claps when you heal. That's it. No exceptions." Caleb added, "And sometimes you have to build that from scratch. But when you do, it's stronger than anything you came from." At home, things were steady and sacred. Zara started sketching again, this time not just gowns, but garments for people reclaiming themselves. Her first collection was called Ashes to Armor. It featured sleek, powerful silhouettes made from recycled fabrics and minimalist designs. Each piece came with a short note, a reminder of strength. One read, "Worn once, never forgotten, always rising." Her first show was small, but impactful. One model walked the runway in a replica of Zara's slip dress, paired with boots and a blazer. The crowd gave a standing ovation. Zara sat in the back row, watching it all with misty eyes. She had turned a disaster into a design. A few months later, Zara and Caleb celebrated their 6-month anniversary not with a tropical vacation or flashy gifts, but with dinner in their backyard, string lights overhead, homemade sangria, and a playlist of their wedding songs. Between bites of grilled vegetables and chocolate cake, Caleb raised a glass. "To the girl who got married in the wrong dress, at the right time, for all the right reasons." Zara clinked her glass to his. "To the man who never flinched, even when the world caught fire." They toasted, laughed, and danced under the stars. No guests, no speeches, just them. And that was more than enough.
When someone sets fire to your story, you have two choices: let it burn or rise with it. I didn't just get married that day. I claimed something I hadn't even known I was missing, my own narrative. And if you're reading this, or watching this, or sitting in the ashes of your own burned-down moment, just know there's another chapter waiting. And this time, you get to write it.